I'm back, and what I'm calling my 200 Days to Financial Freedom show, where I'll be giving you daily shows, keeping you updated on exactly what's happening in the markets, because I believe that we are at a critical crossroad in the industry, and things are heating up, and they're heating up fast, and I don't want you guys to miss this generational play. So I started this YouTube channel back in October 2023, and it was called 200 Days to the Bitcoin Halving, and boy did we have a sensational ride. We were getting in early on a lot of these projects, and now we're at another crossroad, another opportunity, albeit not the same prices as they were in October 2023 pre-BlackRock, but it is an opportunity nonetheless. And if you haven't taken advantage in these months to accumulate or throughout the bear market, then it's time to set your strategy, and I'm going to be here for you every step of the way throughout this journey. So I'm so excited to do this with you. In today's episode, I'll be covering all of the charts and all of the confluence, all of the information we have that points to the next 2 weeks to 1 month or so is a critical period for you to get exposure to these markets and why. So we'll be going over Plan B's stock to flow model that says the best times to buy Bitcoin are 6 months before the halving and the best time to sell is 18 months after. We'll have a look at that, how that played out last cycle, where that would put us this cycle, and I'll let you know what I've been doing, what I'm looking at, what I'm buying, and how I'm positioning myself, as well as all the meme coin mania. I'll be going over a little bit of that as well. As you know, the infamous Murad on social media has come out and said that he believes one coin, one meme coin in particular, will hit $100 billion market cap. So I'll be letting you know my thoughts on that. And finally, just exactly how long we have until this whole market takes off. And trust me, you don't want it to take off without you. So we'll be looking at a lot of indicators and charts to see just exactly where we should be and how things should be panning out. It's very exciting times indeed. My name is Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan. I'm your host for today, tuning in from lovely, sunny, southern Marbella, Spain. Let me know where you're tuning in from, because I've been missing you, and I'm so happy to be back. This is going to be another incredible ride with all of you, and on that note, let's get right into it. People have been asking me, wow, you're still here. I thought you disappeared. They do this periodically throughout the bear market. And also during these dips, and people are just so fickle in their thoughts, right? I am here for the long run. I'm talking the rest of my life, right? Like, this is my whole life's journey. I've been traveling all over to some of the biggest events. I just got back from Singapore. I'll be going to Ape Fest on Friday, so shout out to my fellow apes. Let me know if you're tuning in. And yeah, I just want to play this message for you, just so you have it crystal clear where I stand as to what I think about this market and where I'll be for the near rest of my life, basically.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home! They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here!
So I hope that left it crystal clear to you in your mind. And now on our new journey in our new daily show called 200 Days to Financial Freedom, we're going to be going over everything you guys need to know to stay updated, to make informed decisions, to build that killer portfolio, any new coins I'll be adding to mine, as well as what I think you should be paying attention to, and more. So first off, let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. This shows just how fickle really human beings and investors are. They're very emotional beings. I will not exclude myself from this, because we've all been victim to this at some point, letting into our emotions, but I try to keep my emotions out of it now. And generally, when we start to get in these extremely heated areas, it's a good time to sell. I mean, it's just a good rule of thumb. So as you can see, we've been neutral for about like 5 to 6 days, but don't forget, just 7 days ago, okay, take a look at this. We were at 32 on the Fear and Greed Index. So, this is ranging quite drastically right now between extreme fear and greed. And that's just where we've been. We've been oscillating between the two in this range. So as you can see, we built up a nice cluster of support right around here. And we're nicely bouncing off of that now. And it should be, if you look at this is just a chart of human emotions over time, right? And this shows like our descent out of the bear market, starting to go into the bull market, and then this current dip that we're facing. Every time we get one of these kind of consolidation periods / correction periods, people think that it's over, that we're not getting a bull market. And you know what? Like, we're just beginning. We have to zoom out and remember where we're at in this cycle. We are just about to begin phase 4, which is the most parabolic phase, and we cannot drop the ball now, guys. We need to be on our game. So let's have a look at a few more indicators. This is Bitcoin Magazine that says, on average, bull cycles begin 170 days after the halving, meaning the bull could start this month. So it's all lining up to where like things start to take off within a couple of weeks to 1 month, like I said in the intro. So we need to like look at these indicators and decide, okay, where are we at and how long do we actually have? Because once this market takes off, there is no stopping it, and it doesn't wait for anyone. So if you're not already on board the train's going to leave without you, basically. So let's get positioned now. If you haven't been positioned yet, you still have a chance, and I am still trying to actively accumulate before this period as well. Here we have from Jay, Bitcoin has never made a new monthly low after October 12th since 2013. Today is October 12th, by the way. Okay, so from the bottom to the end of October, Bitcoin is up 32%. So he's just taking an average of days here. Eric Crown, one of my favorite analysts, did this as well, and saying that like after this period, it's never gone below the October low in a bull run, and there's another point of confluence that we have. Then again, we have now a technical indicator lining up. This is from Steve from Crypto Career University, also an analyst that I really enjoy watching. And I love his perspective because he zooms out and he keeps it simple. You don't have to get complicated in investing. You just have to understand the basics, and also a little bit about the macro cycle and where we're at as far as the economy, because we're largely dependent as a crypto sphere and economy right now on the greater world macro economy and what's happening with global liquidity. So keep that in mind. We're in election year. Election years are always more stimulus, keep the current administration looking good. We're about to have those elections. We just had a massive rate cut, 50 basis points. We're going to have another one, and liquidity is coming back into this market. So you can either front run that or you can wait for others to do it and then try to FOMO in. I suggest the first one. So here we have breaking Bitcoin about to do something that only happens once per cycle, and this is the stochastic RSI, and Steve is pointing out that we just had a cross up and we're waiting for this to confirm above the 20 line. So, in his videos and in his analysis, he points out that this only happens a couple times per year, and it signals usually, when it's not a fake out, massive momentum coming back into the market, which is what we need. We need momentum now. So it's looking interesting on all fronts. Here we have from George, Cryptos R Us, the bull cycle should start within the next 2 weeks. In all previous cycles, we have never had a bull cycle start later than the next 14 days. The odds are in our favor. So here we are now. What's next? Now, one thing I'd like to say about this is I'm not a contrarian to be a contrarian per se, but when everybody is thinking one way in the same way, usually Bitcoin doesn't do that. On the other hand, we have all of this data and all of these statistics to show that we are right at the point of just a calm before the massive storm explosion, to put it like that. So, I am cognizant of the fact that since Bitcoin likes to do the opposite of what everybody thinks most of the time, that maybe we'll have another correction. Maybe we will have another extended period of down and to the right, or consolidation. That's fine. But I'm in this for the long run, and I know that this is coming. So if we do have a dip, just be prepared. Have a certain reserve that you keep aside to buy those dips or black swans or whatever could happen. But I am more of the thought that I want to be positioned no matter what. Whether that's not catching the bottom, whether that's not waiting for that magical number. I want to be in the market. I want to be positioned. And if it dips, I'm of the camp that I will buy more and I will double down. That's just me. You have to do what resonates with you and your investing strategy. Of course, it's not financial advice, but why risk it? That's my thought. Why risk it in these markets that can give us these 10s and 20x's basically from here? If we're going to look at the charts now, why wait? And, I just think that way, and that's the way that I've been able to be successful in these markets. So it's very exciting times indeed. Here we have another chart. The next bull run starts in 13 days. So everybody's saying a lot of the same thing, right? In the next couple of weeks, end of October, only up, October. Okay. It's been 157 days since the last halving, and Bitcoin always goes parabolic after 170. So again, these are statistics, these are charts from the past, these are patterns that we can pick up on to get a clue as to where we are now. I noticed the pattern back in 2017 and made over $100,000 on alts. Today, I'm also buying the most promising 1000x low cap coins. Okay, so here we have the chart, and it shows that the you know, after the halving, this is where we were in this little box here. And now, as I said, we're about to get into this fourth parabolic phase. So here he has the halving coming into the end of this third box, going into the fourth parabolic phase. Now he has that target all the way up to 520,000. I absolutely do not think it's going to hit that or anywhere close to this cycle. But I do think that a lot of the altcoins have a really big chance of doing those 10 to 20 X's from this point at where they're at now. They've been hit hard, and it's been the Bitcoin show. And so I think there's a lot of upside from here. Bitcoin, I believe, can do anywhere from maybe 90K. I know everybody's saying 120 this and that. Maybe it doesn't even make it this cycle. Maybe it's between 90K to 150K. I don't know. But what I do know is that we are going to get, you know, some massive liquidity coming in, and you never know how heated things can get. Now, next up, this is another point of confluence. Balance of USDT on exchanges has hit an all-time high of $22.7 billion. That's a lot of money ready to flow into Bitcoin and crypto. So these are all clues as to what's coming, and we'd be fools to not pay attention to it whatsoever. Next up, we have the Bitcoin chart. So here's the most important point of the video, okay? I want you to visualize just exactly where we're at. So I went and mapped out all these timelines on the chart. So here, November 11th, 2019 was exactly 6 months before the halving in 2020, which was in May of 2020. Here's that halving. And that's technically when the best time to buy Bitcoin is. If you notice, it was generally a phenomenal time to buy Bitcoin, especially when you zoom out. But for that cycle, we did have the pandemic crash, but after that, we just continued on with our cycle. So, you know, as I said, you can't plan for black swans. You can only have that set amount of dry powder, cash on the sidelines, ready to allocate. As you can see, after the halving, in October is when we really started our ascent, when we really started to take off. And after that point, like, Bitcoin literally waited for no one. It just went and it ripped, and that was that. So as you can see, from this point in October, which is about 5 to 6 months after the halving, right around where we're at now, October 12th, we just ripped from there. And you know what? History doesn't have to repeat, but it often rhymes. So there's another point of confluence. And then I mapped out 18 months after the halving, which is November 2021, and here we are, just almost at the absolute peak of the cycle. I mean, it's pretty crazy how it lines up. But again, you're never going to catch the top. So just as long as you're somewhat cognizant of where we are in the time scale and on the greater liquidity cycle, you're going to do okay. And you don't need to try to time the top, and I would not recommend it. So coming to now, here we are, October 2023, right when I started the channel. Look at this. Look how we've gone since I started the channel. That was 200 days before the halving. And here's the halving. So as you can see, we were much more overheated before the halving this time, hence the very extended period of correction, which we did not have in this period of time. But I've mapped out the other dates. So here's the halving in April. Here, now we are, same date in October, right around the exact same time. Don't forget this. And we're gearing up and getting ready to go on our next ascent. So here we are, nearing mid-October, and 18 months from the date of the halving would put us exactly around 1 year from now to what Plan B calls the best time to sell, which was the ultimate top peak of the last cycle. So that would be 1 year from now, next October, when the 18 months after halving commences. So important to keep those dates in mind. And let's see how this cycle carries on. Now I mapped this same thing out for you on the Cardano chart, because as you know, those who follow me here, you know that Cardano was one of my first investments, my first bigger investments, and I invested this past February in 2020. And as you can see here, the halving was in May. I mapped out the period where it started to absolutely rip, which was at the end of that year in December, and it waited for no one. Now here we are again. This is the halving from this year. We're right here in October, right before, seemingly right before, could possibly be the next parabolic rip up. So last time it extended from May to December. Since we had the halving earlier this year in April, we could see that a little bit earlier this year, the start of the commence of that parabolic run. So I think that we could be gearing up for a very amazing altcoin spring, if you will. And I am getting ready for it. I'm getting ready for it. And as you can see, I started this channel in October, and Cardano was around 26 cents. Then it went up to, as you can see here, current price 38 cents. And now we're all the way back to 35 cents. We're back at this incredible buy point, you better believe I'm backing up the truck again. And now I want you to zoom out a little bit. Just zoom out a little bit, because if you look back at this chart, okay, so if you have a look here and you would have bought Cardano around here and you were excited that it went up and then it crashed in the COVID lows, you would have been like, man, I should have just waited. I shouldn't have bought in. But look at what happens next. Just look at this. I mean, we've got to zoom out because it does not have to be that complicated. So here Plan B says, Bitcoin is entering the vertical part of the S curve. Probably nothing. So we're still in the early adopters phase, coming into now early majority. That is the absolute prime spot for explosion. And that's where we're all tuning in together from now. What an incredible time to be alive. Then we have another statistic that shows, all of this meme coin hype and mania and things like that. Realistically, it's only a handful of people that are really trading these memes and pumping them up to these wild valuations. By a handful, I mean in the thousands, right? Because retail is not here yet. And their whole thesis is that retail is going to come in and pump meme coins to the sky and the stratosphere because it's going to be easy for them. They're going to understand. That could be true. But, I also think that while meme coins are super overheated now, it's an important point in the market to start getting into those other ones that are highly overlooked. The tech that's going to change the future, that's actually building things, is still been slept on. So why not get into something that's undervalued instead of something that's at a super high price? And that's not to mistake the fact that I am buying memes as well. I have an allocation of my portfolio to meme coins, but I'm all about that gem hunting and getting those fire deals and fire sales. So that's what I'm focused on right now. And Vivek says, Bitcoin Google search volume hit 4-year low. So our search volume could not be lower. Retail has no idea what price Bitcoin's at right now. They just don't pay attention. It's suddenly 60,000 has become the norm to everybody. And they're waiting for, well, come back and tell me when it's at 70 or 100,000 like y'all have been saying for years, right? So retail's not here. They're not here, this is pretty crazy. We know what's coming next. Oh yeah, we do. Then we have, so now I'm going to get into a little bit about this meme coin mania, okay? We have Kirby here. Someone give me one reason why meme coins cannot run to 100 billion when we have vaporware like XRP and ADA running to 100 billion in past cycles. The only reason these coins ran to a $100 billion market cap is because a cult formed behind them. They had zero product. The Ripple army was the product. Now, in some ways, maybe he has some merit to what he's saying, because Cardano is a really, really deeply entrenched community. I know so because I'm part of it. I just interviewed Charles Hoskinson and I got involved with the Cardano. I love the Cardano community, but yeah, it's the community that props it up, that believes in it. But they get to be stakeholders in a greater ecosystem. And although maybe there hasn't been a whole lot of development on the chain and not a whole lot of marketing put into it, there's still something being built there. So vaporware, I would not necessarily agree with here, but I understand his thesis that the communities are what bring the value and what bring the eyeballs and what bring the liquidity into the system. So that's what many people's viewpoints are on the meme coins, that it's going to be easier for them to understand, and they're not going to have to get their hopes and dreams up on people adding value to them, and they're just going to be able to hold these cool shiny coins in their wallet and be excited about it, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah, okay, I can feel that, but these chains, make no mistake, they're building for the future, the core atomic building blocks of this movement, and we should not sleep on them. Another thing I'd like to point out is everyone is sleeping on Ethereum. Everybody is flooding Ethereum, saying that it's a dead chain, that Vitalik came out and says he doesn't like DeFi, it's just not going to be a thing. BlackRock came out and announced that they're bullish on Ethereum and that it is the future of finance. How can we overlook that as a crypto space here? Like, it just doesn't make sense. ETH is the most robust, most secure chain there is, and that suddenly it's just going to die as a chain after all of this, after Larry Fink comes out and says Ethereum is the next best thing after Bitcoin? I think not. So I've also been accumulating Ethereum, and I think that is the play right now. As you can see here, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, recently expressed his optimism about the future of crypto, asserting that Ethereum could grow spectacularly. Bottom line is, whether Larry Fink thinks that it's going to be a spectacular future part of finance or not, he's got a very big vested interest in this, and there is no way that this is just going to, lay by the wayside and not get any traction. So I think that we would be foolish in the crypto space to think that Ethereum is not going to have a phenomenal run as well, and it's lagging. So, I'm trying to allocate to those kind of plays right now. So last but not least, I'm going to play you a clip by famous YouTuber Alex Becker on his thoughts about the market. And I thought he summed it up quite brilliantly with a similar viewpoint that I have to utility coins and coins that are really building something for the future. So let's have a listen.
The main use case we've seen for crypto is its number one use case, creating Ponzi schemes. That's really all it does. You create vaporware, some narrative, you launch a coin goes up, everybody invests in it, then everybody dumps and gets rich. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's what's most popular right now with meme coins. What you are seeing for the first time is people actually demanding to use the blockchain in their day-to-day life. And the demand volume absolutely blows away anything we've seen in crypto as far as the Ponzi schemes go. This is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what true demand is going to look like. And the demand and what it's going to drive up the prices to is going to be unheard of because we've never seen this before. All you have to understand on top of that is that it's just better code. It's not some obtrusive thing. It's not getting people indoctrinated in some Ponzi schemes or some crazy thing where they have to be in crypto Twitter trading. It is going to be seamless, because it's better ways to store player information, transfer player information, and verify ownership. And then adds a whole range of other business opportunities for the player and the business, outside of microtransactions and all the BS we see right now. So once this happens, you see all these millions and millions of transactions happening on AVAX for just one game. Imagine when you start seeing this stuff happening in Grand Theft Auto. Imagine when you start seeing it in the most mainstream of mainstream games using it. Because again, it's just better code. They're going to use it just in the same way games adopted online gaming. We are going to see these infrastructure coins jumping to tens of billions, 20 of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars because they're going to be the most demanded infrastructure and technology in all of crypto. And this is happening right in front of you. Again, you're seeing actual demand. You're seeing for the first time people demanding use of blockchain for their day-to-day lives outside of trading Ponzi scheme coins. And I'm telling you, in the next year, in the next 2 years, it's going to be huge. I told you a year ago it's going to be huge, and you'd have entries that are going to get you phenomenal gains coming up here pretty soon. But you could still be ahead of the curve and beat the herd, which is looking everywhere but here right now.
So on that note, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, that you got some sort of insight as to where we are right now in the markets, why it's critical that you take action right now, and I'll see you tomorrow.